you would have done. I just want to hear from your mouth. No, unless you're scared of him, and I appreciate that.
The funny thing
I do appreciate that. It's something Trump should learn from you.
You cannot write it better than this. Medhi Hasan just absolutely torched Vivek. Like, finally laid into him the way I've been waiting for someone to do so. He didn't let him filibuster, didn't let him escape questions. He came at him with receipts for everything that he said and that he said that he did, which caught him up trying to obfuscate multiple times. And it led to a rather hilarious and tense interview. And I wanted to share this with you guys to show you, one, how funny it is, the comical side to it, as well as how easy it is to really pick apart things that people like Vivek say. You just have to come with the truth. So I'll jump in where needed to give some context, but mostly let's just have some fun with this one. We'll start with this first clip here.
So you talk about your business background. Let's talk about that. You made your name and made a lot of your early big money from pushing an Alzheimer's drug that had already failed 4 clinical trials when you bought it. You then talked it up on CNBC, in Forbes, on the cover. Your company subsidiary shot up by billions in value when it went public in 2015. But then the drug failed its phase 3 trial on your watch. The company lost 75% of its value in a single day. Ordinary investors like the California State Teachers Pension Fund lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But you cashed out beforehand via your parent company to the tune of, I believe, over $37 million. Your critics say it's a classic pump and dump scheme. What do you say to them?
This is one of the pieces of misinformation from opposition research. I could have sold shares in that subsidiary Alzheimer's company, but didn't. So the person who was hurt by that was me.
Hold on. But you say this a lot, but you did sell shares in Roivant, and you made $37 million.
And Medhi,
$37 million.
Medhi, I think you owe it to your audience. Medhi, I think you owe it to your audience to be accurate. That is shares in a different company, not Axovant. And those shares that I sold are worth. And those shares are worth dramatically more today. So I would have made more money had I held on to those shares. So don't believe what the opposition research purveys through the media.
It's not opposition research. We looked at your tax returns, which you very kindly have released.
Yeah, exactly.
And
which I voluntarily released because I want to be transparent.
You made $300,000 in 2014 on capital gains. In 2015, after the IPO of this Axovant, you made $37 million in capital gains. Yet others didn't make that kind of money.
After Medhi, give me a break.
So when I originally turned this on, I was only going to half watch till I got to this part. And I was like, oh, this is going to be good, isn't it? If you think that he's drilling into him here, just wait. He gets a lot worse and he pulls all the receipts. Here is, he's calling Vivek out about a claim that Vivek got rich off of a failed Alzheimer's drug that he was pumping up into the market and then sold shares before it fell flat on his face. A rug pull in the big pharma industry, pretty much, which he absolutely did. Absolutely. He went around hyping it up to build the value of this drug, which Medhi calls him on, went on magazines, never said anything that he says now about, 99% of drugs fail, and this one, is just going to be one of them too. And he was hyping this up to anyone and everyone, built the value of it, in which increased the value of the parent company to the one who was founding that drug, and he sold shares in that company to get rich. The drug then failed after he had cashed out, and that company is only now successful for things that the FDA approved after he sold the company. Yes, while he was with the company, it got through multiple trials, but keep in mind, the 5 things he's talking about getting through phase 3 were not FDA approved. They still have to send an application in to the FDA to get approved, and it's important to remember that the Alzheimer's drug also got through those 3 phases and then massively fell on its face. So this is more obfuscation, and I love that Medhi calls him out on it, and he obviously doesn't really know how to respond. But let's continue this next clip. It just gets more and more intense as we go.
You have made truth the centerpiece of your campaign. So let's talk about your trustworthiness.
Yes.
For example, when CNN quoted you talking to The Atlantic about 9/11 and federal agents possibly being on the planes, you said the quote is wrong, actually. But the quote wasn't wrong. The Atlantic released the audio of what you saying exactly what they said you said.
Medhi,
hold on, let me finish the question.
Let me be crystal clear.
Let me finish the question.
The Atlantic should release the whole tape. They refused to do it.
You said on Twitter Spaces last month that no, you had never supported Bernie Sanders' Masks for All legislation, but you literally put out a tweet in July of 2020 calling it a sensible idea. You also said not once but twice in June and July that the first time you'd ever voted was in 2020 for Trump, but in fact the first time you voted for president was in 2004 for a pro-choice libertarian candidate. How can people believe what you say?
So, Medhi, let me just go through one by one. The Atlantic, yes, purposefully spliced an out-of-context quote where we have challenged them. They released the tapes. We asked them for the tapes first. They didn't give them to us. They waited then to splice them and release them publicly. I challenged the Atlantic to release that entire conversation. And what was a conversation about how many federal agents were in the field.
You said was wrong. We all heard it. We can play it if you like.
No,
it is exactly word for word what she quoted to you. You said they put words in your mouth.
Look, if you want hard facts, here are hard facts. That day, the Atlantic printed it. I said, that looks like something that never captured the character of our conversation. Can you ask Atlantic for the tapes? They said they would refuse to release the recording to us. So when Caitlin asked me about it, I said, that does not at all sound like the context of what I said. And then, it turns out the Atlantic releases a very, everybody should listen to it.
You're putting words in my mouth.
It functionally sends the wrong message,
you could have said,
Medhi.
Oh, functionally. Okay.
Okay, so first off, notice how he never addresses supporting a mask mandate just a few years prior, even though now he's vehemently against it. I wonder why he switched. Maybe it's because the party he's running in interests don't align with that. I don't know. And he never addressed voting for a pro-choice libertarian because this would be career suicide in the Republican Party. It would absolutely plummet his stock. Regardless of how much he fondles Trump's balls, there would be no coming back from that. So he instead tries to obfuscate from the point that would be easiest to distract from, calling the Atlantic clip spliced, which is hilarious because it's completely raw and unedited audio, and they released like 4 or 5 minutes of their conversation, multiple minutes leading up to the quote in question, minutes after of them talking. And why would they release the full clip when the context of what was being questioned was Vivek said that he was misquoted, specifically that the quote put words in his mouth. So the point of releasing the audio was to show that word for word what they quoted was what he said. And he even tries to lie about it here, which is hilarious when Medhi calls him on it. And it just shows how these used car salesman ass politicians really work. They just want to be able to say something and fill it with a bunch of filibuster and fast talking and kind of half quotes. So when they get called on it, they can instantly backpedal and then be like, whoa, man, you're trying to get a clip. You're trying to get a soundbite. Like, no, it's what you said. It's what you meant. And Medhi really does a great job this whole interview, just really giving it to him and not letting him do that. Here he is in another clip later on in the interview when pressed on Donald Trump and some contradictory statements he's made regarding him.
You've also called him a sore loser who is a danger to democracy. Those are strong words.
Would I have made the same judgments that he has made at every step of the way? No, I will remind you that I am running for U.S. president because I am best positioned to lead this country forward.
Can I ask you what they are, Vivek? Yes. You say he behaved in downright abhorrent behavior that makes him a danger to democracy. What was it that was downright? Tell me what he did that was downright abhorrent.
Let's actually be really fair to your audience. So on January 10th, 2021, thereabouts, days after that incident, I wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal arguing that censorship was the real cause of what happened on January 6th. When asked in response, somebody asked me the question, are you... That's what I wrote. I'm giving you the facts of what I said. That's a hard fact. That was published in the Wall Street Journal. When pressed on, was that condoning what Trump did? My answer was no. There's a difference between a bad judgment and a crime.
And
we
you're
need
avoiding
to be able to tell the difference in this country.
What did Donald Trump do,
no, I'm not avoiding
in your view, that was downright abhorrent? Second time I asked that question.
I think that the thing that I would have done differently if I were in his shoes
not what I asked,
is
Vivek,
I would have
respect.
declared re-election on January 7th.
I'll ask it a third time.
That's exactly the thing I would have done.
What did Trump do that was egregious, quote, downright abhorrent, and a danger to democracy? Can you just explain to our viewers? Your words.
So you're mixing two different quotes. But what did I think was reprehensible about what happened that day? Look, I think that the way a true leader should have handled that situation should have been to actually say, this is me running for re-election, not actually litigating what is already passed and behind us. And I would have done things differently. That is not a crime, though, what he did.
I understand.
And the reason I have been so vehement.
You keep saying what you would have done. I just want to hear from your mouth. No, unless you're scared of him, why won't you say what he did that was downright abhorrent?
I'm not going to let you you're stitching together three things from three different places to create a caricature. Do you want to have an actual conversation?
Yes, I want you to answer my question, Vivek. Three times I've asked it. What did Trump do that was downright abhorrent? It's a simple question.
Filibuster, filibuster, filibuster. No matter what, no matter anything, he's not going to say a negative word about Trump because he realizes that coddling the man's balls is the only thing that's allowed him to grow in the polls from complete nobody to little bit less of a nobody, you know, like the nobody that people like because he sucks Trump's dick. Even when he's presented with receipts of him literally chastising Donald Trump for his actions, he won't stand on it by saying what those actions are. This is a coward. He can't even face Donald Trump. How do we expect him to face Putin and pull him out of China's military alliance and all the other things that his bravado that he has says he'll be able to do?
Say you are anti-identity politics, anti-affirmative action in a party that hates the Soros name, yet you accepted a Paul and Daisy Soros scholarship at law school that was specifically set up for the children of immigrants. It was an affirmative action scholarship, and your defense for that is that you didn't have the money to pay for law school, even though you'd already made over $1 million at the time and made another $2 million.
My defense of that is somebody gives you a merit scholarship at the age of 24, you take it. At the age of 24, somebody gives you a merit scholarship, you take it. I didn't say I didn't have the money. I said at a time when I had a lot less money than now. $50,000
you said exactly I didn't have the money, Vivek. You keep forgetting your quote. You said, when I didn't have the money.
So, Medhi, I've made this really easy for everybody. And I did this in the early weeks of the campaign.
Yeah.
I released 20 years of tax returns.
Yes, you
Something
did.
that no presidential candidate, let alone somebody who's successful in business, has done. I challenge Democrats and Republicans alike, including the Biden family, to do it.
And you
know what? I released it so that you could look at them, so we can have an honest conversation.
And I appreciate that.
The funny thing I've learned,
I do appreciate that. It's something Trump should learn from you.
I think that transparency is important.
Look,
it's already open and everybody can see it.
Exactly. We have 2009.
But the fact of the matter is, you know what I would advise every 24-year-old should take
2009 and 2010. You made $750,000. You had the money to pay for law school. You didn't need a Soros affirmative action scholarship that you now criticize.
I mean, oh my God, he absolutely shattered his soul here. This man will attack affirmative action left and right, deny racism and people needing help who are in oppressed groups. And the Soros scholarship he took was an affirmative action scholarship for the children of immigrants. You cannot write it better than this. I swear to God, this dude is the definition of a hypocrite. And now that he's received his benefits, he's got his, he's good. He just wants to strip those from other oppressed groups of people in hopes to whitewash his way to a Republican presidential nomination. It's kind of crazy. And notice again how he tries to twist what he said from how at first he blatantly acted like he just took the scholarship because he didn't have enough money for law school, because he absolutely did have enough money for law school, to something that might be a little easier to justify, and beat around the bush on. He's saying if you're a 24-year-old immigrant who's offered an American scholarship, take the scholarship. And that's why he did it, right? All the while, he's trying to remove that opportunity from other people in way worse situations that could actually use it, while saying that those people who take it are unfairly taking opportunities from more deserving students. I wonder if he feels that way about himself. What do you guys think? And I love that he goes on to ask Medhi why he's obsessing over a 24-year-old getting a scholarship, when that's literally what Republicans trying to remove affirmative action are doing. Republicans like himself.
I just think it is sad and pathetic that that we have important issues to talk about for the future of a country, and you're talking about a $50,000 scholarship in 2010 to go to Yale Law School when I was 24.
If you just owned
this is pathetic.
Vivek,
and is why nobody trusts you guys.
It is pathetic in your view, but you paid a Wikipedia editor who then removed it, so clearly it's something you didn't want people to read about. Last question, because we've gone over time and I respect you.
Who also said I was born in India. Who also said I was born in India and misspelled and got my wife's name wrong. So yes, we actually need to correct facts when people are playing this game.
last question. You want me to ask a substantive question? Here's what I worry about most: democracy in this country.
I would love
not just
questions.
under Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Last question for you: not just under Donald Trump, but under you. People are worried about authoritarianism. You have preemptively promised to pardon Trump no matter what juries of his peers decide, as well as today extending those pardons to January 6 rioters. You've dismissed white supremacists as boogeymen and unicorns. You want to fire at least half the federal government workforce. That's over 1 million people. You want to remove the right to vote from 18 to 25-year-olds. That's over 30 million people. You want to get rid of birthright citizenship. In fact, you refer to voting and citizenship as privileges when they are, in my view and in the Constitution view, rights. It's a very anti-democratic worldview. What do you say to people who criticize you for that?
God damn, Medhi was on fire this whole interview. And I'm sorry I didn't add a lot of insight like I normally do. Like I said, I really was just hyped up by this interview and wanted to share it with you guys. And besides, there's not much I could say that Medhi didn't. You know, I mean, hats off to this man. Vivek is somebody who was an immigrant but wants to strip immigrants of their rights, even children and now adults who were born in this country. This is someone who benefited from affirmative action but would love to see that help ripped from others in situations much more drastic, much worse than the one he was in when he took that same help. Someone who wants to replace bureaucracy with authoritarianship, which is not a good trade for anyone who's not in power. Someone who's shown time and time again that he will lie and twist his words to say whatever sounds best for the soundbite, and has truly disgusting and unhinged opinions hiding behind those sound bites, behind his populist agenda, fake smile, and used car salesman personality with a tinge of Trumpist, or, you know, Trump dick sucker, if I say so myself. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel focused on politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're also open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that can interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, even commenting on this video, because the only way we become a society is together.